That's what I need.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates small businesses, the enduring lifeblood of our community, with the launch of the KBLA SMB Marketplace. For the first time, small to medium-sized businesses will have an opportunity to promote their goods and services on KBLA and take advantage of our powerful reach and local marketing power. The SMB Marketplace is hosted exclusively on KBLA1580.com and is accessible from all our social media channels. Whether you're a small mom and pop restaurant, a car dealership, or a professional practitioner, we invite you to join in this new KBLA Talk 1580 initiative to promote your business. As a Black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your shadow with me? Time to get paid.
Tavis, Smiley live from the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, inside the United Center. It's day one, hour two for us. We'll be here Monday through Thursday, just trying to work through some technical issues in this first day. But so far, we're up and running and hopefully sounding good to you wherever you're listening. We have, of course, a strong roster of affiliates all across the country. I am pleased to say that this week we have about 25 additional stations all across the country that are carrying us for this special week of programming. So to all those 25 additional stations that are carrying this program, we say thank you. We hope that your audience will be enlightened, encouraged, and empowered this week by what they hear on Tavis, Smiley. And of course, to our regular affiliates, we're just delighted that so many of you have given us the opportunity to be heard 3 hours a day over stations all across this country in all the major markets, big cities, small towns. And so we are here to bring the best of this convention to you from the United Center in Chicago. In a matter of moments, we'll be joined by the former governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia and the former chair of the Democratic National Committee, Terry McAuliffe, will join us here in just a few moments. But now I'm pleased to welcome to the microphone, Frederick Ingram. You choked me up, brother. You see that? I'm so choked I can't get your name out.
Oh, good.
Frederick Ingram is the Secretary-Treasurer of America, the American Federation of Teachers, AFT. Our friend Randy Weingarten, obviously, is a regular guest on this program. We're pleased to have Frederick Ingram on this program right now from the DNC inside the United Center. Frederick, how are you, sir?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Let me jump in and make the most of the time that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, let me start with that great Malcolm quote. Education is the passport to the future.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. It is, for Black people in particular, our passport to the future. Somebody else once put it this way. If you're Black without an education, you're twice defeated.
That's right.
If you're Black without an education, you are twice defeated. Clearly, education is at the top of the agenda for many of us. The AFT came out early on to endorse Joe Biden. And then I believe you all were the first major union to endorse Kamala Harris. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Tell me why you did that.
Well, listen, we believe in public education, and we know that having Kamala Harris at the front of the ticket is going to inject a new spirit of life, a new spirit of energy that we need specifically to the Black community and our Black children and schools that support these communities. And so we need the resources. We need to make sure that we have a wave of Black teachers that are going into these schools, and what she represents, being a Black woman, being from a HBCU, representing and knowing the importance of that culture and putting it front and center, we believe is going to be not only extra special, not only historic, but a necessity in order to take our young people into the next generation.
Why do you think teachers union have become the enemy? I mean, there are a number of unions I could put on this list of entities that get a lot of pushback. But I can't think of any union that catches more hell than the teachers unions in this country, even though I believe teachers are our most undervalued resource. The unions that represent them are always caught in the middle of a drive-by, if you will.
Yeah.
What is it about teachers unions that just gets people so riled up?
Well,
on the right, that is.
It's on the right, right? Exactly what I was going to say. Teachers unions are formed by teachers, and teachers are our most trusted professionals that we have. Not only our most trusted, but our most important, because we know what happens in our classrooms happens in our workforce, and happens in our militaries, happens in our hospitals. So whatever we're able to do, that magic that happens between the teacher and student is going to be transforming particular communities. And there are some who want haves and have-nots. We know that education, like you said at the beginning of this, it's the cornerstone of democracy. And so at that cornerstone, you have to fully inject resources. You have to fully inject your attention to that, because these are young people that we're talking about. And I always say our kids are going to take care of us one way or another. We need to pour into them early so that they can pour into us later, because these are the stewards and the leaders of tomorrow's society. And so why people are after teachers unions, because they see it as a stretch of their power, leaving them from public policy. They see it as a stretch that, when they can tell you what kinds of books to read, what kind of thoughts to think, what kind of ideology to have. These are folks who really want you to believe in what they believe in, or else, and so that's what we're up against. It's this whole idea of extremism, that says we can recolor history, or we can teach you something about your past that we think you need to know, and not the full breadth and strength of who you are, so that you know that what you can actually be.
What does AFT say about these book bans that are just they become? I don't want to say hegemonic. I don't want to give them that much power.
Yeah.
But certainly all across the country, in certain states, I'm thinking Florida. You know them better than I do. Texas. Arkansas,
Sure.
But this notion of banning what we read has become a new thing. That's really an old thing, as you well know.
Yeah.
But very quickly, what does AFT say about these book bans?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned our president early on. Randy Weingarten had this vision many years ago to help build up public libraries, build up our school libraries, support librarians. And we've been doing that work for the better part of 10 years. And this year, in 2024, we've given away our 10 millionth book to communities across this country. So on the ground, we are giving away books in a campaign that we've called Reading Opens the World, because we know the building blocks of education starts with literacy. If you can't read, then it limits you in everything else that you can do. And so what we are doing on the top level is trying to change this public policy. We know we've got bad governors out there, the Kemps of the world, the DeSantises of the world, the Abbotts of the world, who are banning books. And listen, that starts an autocracy. It starts a public policy debate that that again goes to haves and have-nots. And so we are staunchly against that. We believe in opening up books. We believe in opening up libraries and supporting those who support those libraries, like librarians and teachers, reading teachers and curriculum instructors. So we're trying to open up the space where people are trying to close it, and fight against that public policy from the halls on Capitol Hill to every school board.
When we come forward, one more question for Frederick Ingram, who's the Secretary Treasurer of AFT, the American Federation of Teachers. I want to ask him about what it means to be in a city like Chicago that has a black mayor named Brandon Johnson, who was, in fact, a teacher. We'll talk about that when we come forward. And then we'll be joined by Terry McAuliffe, former governor of Virginia, former chair of the DNC. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
From California to the Carolinas, everybody's listening to Tavis. More when we come forward.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Tips to help improve basic steps for building a budget in 2024. Building a budget can help you achieve and reach your financial goals. With a budget, you can keep track of your spending, avoid and get out of debt, limit overspending, pay bills on time, and build solid savings habits. What's the best way to get started? Figure out how much to set aside for expenses like rent, mortgage, bills, groceries, and entertainment. Understanding your past financial habits can help you make the proper adjustments for your budget. Adjusting to a budget can take time as you work to find the right balance, but keep working on it. For more financial health tips, visit chase.com or stop by a local branch. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Freedom is an endless meeting, so let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Frederick Ingram, who's Secretary-Treasurer for the AFT, American Federation of Teachers, will be joined in a moment here by Terry McAuliffe, former governor of Virginia and former chair of this Democratic National Convention. Look forward to that dialogue here shortly. But I was saying a moment ago, Frederick, that we are in the Windy City. Mayor Brandon Johnson is a friend of this program. We expect him on this program. He'll be on this program this week. So we'll talk to the mayor a little bit later, if not today, tomorrow. So we'll talk to Mayor Johnson. But it was a big deal when he became mayor of Chicago because he, for so many years, was in fact himself a school teacher. What does it mean to be in a city hosting the Democratic Convention that has as its mayor a former school teacher, a black male, no less?
That's right. Listen, it's fantastic. Not only do young people get a chance to see a young man lead, but lead from such a noble profession. And then what it's doing across the country is sending the waves that teachers, that black male teachers, are important. Not only in their classrooms, but outside of their classrooms. They can be leaders, they can be business and entrepreneurs, they can do anything. Brandon is leading one of the biggest cities in the world. And so this is really encouraging, not only for public education, for public educators, but it is sending those shockwaves that we need, as a full injection of hope and opportunity. And so we're really proud of Brandon. We're also proud that Kamala Harris has chosen a teacher as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, Tim Walz
is
a teacher, through and through. He was a football coach. And so we are really not only happy, but excited about having that energy, the classroom inside the walls of the White House.
And finally here, because you and I are both black males and Brandon Johnson, the mayor's a black male, what is the answer to that vexing question of how we get more black male teachers in the classroom?
So I don't think that there's one particular answer, but I do. I'll give you 2 quick reasons. One is I will give you a quick reason, and our HBCUs are important. We've got to make sure that they get there, and we've also got to make sure that these young people see themselves in the classroom. It's important for all of us, and as long as they can see, they can be. And so we support those HBCUs, support black men who are in the profession, and let's support public education and give them the time and space that they need to make sure that they can be the best of themselves.
Frederick Ingram is Secretary-Treasurer of the AFT, American Federation of Teachers. Frederick, good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you.
Give Randy my best.
Yeah.
I'll see you this week around here somewhere,
Okay,
I'm sure.
I will.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to get Frederick out of this chair. I ain't going to push him, but I'm going to tell him you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here because the former governor of Virginia has just arrived. Terry McAuliffe is the former governor of the Commonwealth. They're taking some photos here. He's former governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia and former chair of the DNC. And it's been a long time. I'm sorry. Put these headphones on so I can hear you.
Let's get it started.
My God. Governor, how are you, sir?
Tavis, I'm doing great.
It's good to see you, man.
You don't ever age. You look
Man,
spectacular. Look at
you.
you.
It's gray hair in my hair.
You look great, man. Distinguished.
You look amazing. How are you, first of all?
Rock and roll.
Yeah. You've had this experience as chair of the DNC.
And chair of a couple conventions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So tell me what this is like when you're trying to spearhead something this massive.
I was telling my daughter on the way over, they're not like chairing a convention. There's never enough credentials for everyone. You can imagine they're not happy with their hotel room, blah, 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 blah. So it's fun to be here and see great friends like you and all that. But listen, I've been doing this now, my 13th convention. I'm being serious, and I've chaired them, and I've chaired the National Party. I have never seen the excitement like we have going in with Kamala Harris. This is, as you know, usually we have a big primary fight. And our convention is sort of used to bring people together, and people are angry. We have none of that.
Yeah.
Everybody's here. Tonight, President Biden will hand it off to her, talk about his great economic record. People are jazzed up, joyful, happy.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. It seems to me, let's talk politics. You're the best at this. It seems to me that one of the things that's going to make a difference, Governor, in this race is that Kamala, what everyone thinks.
I just mentioned the great leader of ASME's walking by.
There you go. ASME's in the building. Everybody's
Greatest
here.
union in America right there.
There you go. Head of the ASME union just walked past our table. So they're all here. Trust me.
Yeah, and if another one walks by, they're the greatest union too. Just to be honest with you.
That's why he's a great politician. Whoever walks by, they're the leader of the greatest union.
Greatest radio interviewer ever, man.
Tavis, Smiley, you're the best.
Yeah,
you're the best. You're the best. You're the best. So here's my question.
Yeah.
I'll give what you just said. It seems to me that Kamala is going to be the happy warrior up against the brooding menace. You know this as well as anybody. I'm thinking of Nixon and Kennedy and that 100%. TV debate. You see where I'm going, right? 100%. Part of this is just energy. It's the way you present. I hadn't even got to the politics yet, but she presents very differently than he does. He's brooding. She's a happy warrior. What do you make of the impact that could have, that issue alone, just where you present yourself?
Yeah, so think of where we are. Think of 4 weeks ago. I think about it. I had President Biden in my backyard.
Yeah.
And I did $8.1 million for him, 650 people in my backyard. 4 days later was the debate.
And by the way, Terry McAuliffe is, seriously, he is the best fundraiser ever.
I've raised a lot of
no question about that.
And I do it all as a volunteer, man.
And when you leave, I will still say you're the best fundraiser.
Yeah, you ask someone for money, what's the worst thing they can say?
Yeah.
What?
No.
I wouldn't have had a date in high school if I took no for an answer. God dang it, that's the beginning of the game for me. But so here we are.
Right.
Coming in, we're happy. Everybody's energized. People didn't want to vote for Trump. I think he has a ceiling out there. He is a convicted criminal. Raped a woman, let's be honest, in Bergdorf Goodman dressing room and slept with a porn star. But put all that aside. He just has no moral core. I was governor during Charlottesville, and I begged this man, you come out, please, Mr. President, and condemn neo-Nazis and white supremacists. He promised me he would, and he came out and said there were good people on both sides. Tavis, he has no moral core.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're going to see in this election. You got Kamala, whom I love greatly. She's happy, she's smart, she's tough, but she's a happy warrior. And you got Trump now, who doesn't know how to deal with her. Said, you know better than I do. She said, well, I'm not sure she's really black. Really? Who talks and said he's better looking than her? He doesn't know what to do. At the end of the day, people want someone who's going to lead this country, build a great economy, protect women's rights.
Let me ask you honestly, and you're always honest with me and transparent anyway after all these years. But I used the analogy earlier. I like to box. I work out with a great trainer in the boxing ring all the time. And when you're a great fighter like Ali,
you're in the 154 class.
Not exactly.
Okay.
But we ain't talking about that, Terry McAuliffe. Okay. When you're a great boxer, you stay on your toes.
Yep.
I was watching an Ali fight the other night, an old fight I was saying earlier, and in the 9th round, Ali was still up on his toes.
Yeah.
Trump may have been on his toes against Biden. We could debate that.
Yeah.
In terms of the polls, but since Kamala has become the nominee, he's been absolutely flat-footed.
Yeah.
Almost stone feet, clay feet. And I raise that because not that he needs advice from us, nor would we give it to help him run a campaign against Kamala Harris. But clearly, this is not what he expected. The question ultimately is, can he get his mojo back, whatever that means?
Yeah, and a thing we need to be very careful about is, you and I lived through the 2000 election where he actually won it. We didn't get it. Hillary got millions of more votes than Trump did in 2016. Democrats have won the popular vote 7 of the last 8 presidential. But you got to get the prize. So, yeah, he can get it back. I would argue, Tavis, there's going to be 2-3 more turns of this screw. We don't know. Something may happen internationally. Something may happen domestically. We do not know that. So I tell all this new excitement in people, we have got to win. We got to win big. We got to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, big. We got to win Arizona and Nevada. We got Georgia. We got North Carolina. He's going to contest the election. Let's make this so big, so resounding that it's over on election night, and there's no arguments, and we're done with him, and we're done with all this MAGA insanity.
That raises two questions, and I couldn't agree more. I've been saying the same thing. She needs, Kamala, she needs to win, and she needs to win big. Yeah. As you well know, having run these conventions and run the party, that's a lot easier said than done. The polls of late suggest she's gaining ground, even ahead in some polls in these battleground states. There's no question in my mind she's going to crush him with the popular vote. Our friend Hillary did that.
Right.
It's the Electoral College that matters. Tell me how you see what's your vision for how, in fact, she wins big. It's one thing to say that, it's another thing to do that. And I think you're right. If she doesn't win big, this thing ain't going to be over on November 5th.
Yeah.
They're going to fight. They're going to sue. They're going to not turn in that. It's going to get ugly if she doesn't win big. Yeah. But what does that look like, though?
Yeah. Now, number one, he doesn't have the White House this time,
right?
And he doesn't have the Department of Justice and Attorney General, any of that. So it's going to be a little different this time. He won't have the megaphone.
But states have to certify still. These states
you bet. And they're working hard, and we got our lawyers working this. And we got to remember not to get in the granular of the politics, but let's take those three states. Today, there's only about 6% are undecided today. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, Tavis, we're talking about 1 million people that we're going to collectively spend $2 billion
trying to
moving 950,000 people.
Right.
And it's all going to be messaging. She's got to stay the happy word. But I do think there's so many people out there. Ever since Roe v. Wade was overturned, record number of women, record number of young people have come out to vote. That you've got her being historic, the first woman of color. On top of that, you've got the whole issue of protecting women's reproductive rights. It is an exciting mix that is going to motivate people to come out and vote.
Yep. I got 5 minutes left with you, and I want to cover a few more things.
Yeah.
Talk to me honestly, transparently about whether or not you think that males, particularly white males, are prepared to see a black woman as commander-in-chief, that role.
Yeah. I think, yes. The answer to that is yes. Back having chaired Hillary's campaign back in 2008, the bigger problem we had would a woman support another woman, for president. If you looked at a lot of the polling data, it was fascinating. Now, I think we're in a different place today in 2024. I think, honestly, Tavis, someone who's like her with a big positive message on the economy and we're protecting our freedoms, protecting democracy, I don't think they care about the gender. They don't care about the race. They just want to get stuff done. And they're sick of what Trump has done. And so this is a guy who told Putin, go ahead and invade NATO countries. This is a guy who, I have a son who was a captain in the United States Marine Corps. My dad was a captain in the Army. That those that lost their life in battle for our country were suckers and losers. I mean, who says that about people who lost their lives of the military in the United States? Just read General 4-star Marine General John Kelly, why he quit. So you want to talk about males and the issues of fighting for our country. It is Donald Trump who has run down the men and women who've served in uniform in this country. It's Donald Trump who's cozying up the dictators. That guy in North Korea, he spent his whole 4 years bear hugging this guy. And what? He's got no more missile capability today.
Yeah. How do I, just a few minutes left here with you. How do I read Virginia? There are a number of states that I've been watching over the past few years, as have you, that are not, what they were back in 2000 when you and I were hanging out.
Yeah.
Arizona is a little different now. It's more purple than it was more red back then. What's Virginia look like these days?
So I think we're good. So I ran the state for the president in 2020. Trump did not have one office, not one staff, and did not run one television commercial. The problem Trump has, and now he's really got, we have so many federal workers, great federal workers in Virginia. He calls for government shutdowns, repeatedly did that as president. So I think we're in a great place. You never take anything for granted. We should win 8 to 10 points in Virginia. But what I'm excited about just today, the new polls out, have us dead even in North Carolina, have us up 4 points in Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. I mean, this is exciting, expanding this map. Remember, Joe Biden got 303 electoral votes. He did win Georgia, he won Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. We're on track to do that again. But, boy, we cannot take our foot off the gas. We cannot take anything for granted. They will try to steal this election. They're going to lie their whole way through. And then he picks J.D. Vance. Listen, I love cats. I got, I don't have cats. I got dogs. I got 3 dogs. I got 3 dogs. But I mean, what are these people talking about? Trump is the first one to come out of his convention not to gain 1 point, not 1 point. He just doubled down on his base.
I
He should have taken Nikki Haley.
Yep. Do you and I agree that she'll get a big bump out of this?
Huge bump. Yeah.
All right. Is that bump sustainable? I asked that question. This ain't your first rodeo.
Yeah.
Momentum matters, but momentum really matters at the right time. We got to go to November, man.
Yeah.
So you get a bump, but can you maintain all this enthusiasm, and can you keep those numbers high from now until November?
So we come out of the convention on Thursday night. We're about 70 days out, which is a lifetime of politics, but it's also not that long. How does Trump has to grow. We're growing. Trump has to get that suburban woman to vote for him. He has to grow. We don't. We got the numbers. We just got to motivate him. And what I said earlier, they're now motivated today. So we definitely can. I think every day she just gets more and more support. And I love Tim Walz. He's fellow governor. He's a great guy. I mean, he is governor, the largest tax cut in the history of Minnesota, protected women's right to choose, and prescription drugs he brought down. It's a great ticket. At the end of the day, it's going to not only make sure you get by, but make sure you are lifted up, protect women's freedoms, protect democracy. Yeah. And I go back to, we are running against a convicted criminal.
Yep. I got 90 seconds left here.
Yes,
it's clear to me, and you may disagree, I don't know. It's clear to me that money isn't necessarily the thing that's going to make the difference this time. There are a lot of races where money actually matters. I'm not so sure that money is the end all be all in this race. If I'm right about that, and it's not going to be about the money per se, what is going to make the difference?
And it's not going to be money, because both sides will have. I mean, it's extraordinary. She raised like $100 million in the first week. And what was exciting to have is this 65% of them were first-time donors.
Yep.
It was like an average contribution of $18. This has never happened in the Democratic Party. I mean, they've raised $400 million since she's been in. We had $240 in the bank. Yep. The super PAC's got $500 million. Trump's got a lot of money. Now, I want your listeners, we've got to keep going. We got to keep taking money. But money is not going to be decider. Yep. If you went to what I said to you earlier, we're fighting over less than 1 million people in 3 states, and we win 270 electoral votes. We need grassroots activism, knocking on those doors, making those phone calls. We cannot take 4 more years of this destructive Donald Trump, who is against everything that we stand for. Everything that we stand for. I mean, look what he called those African countries. And I mean, we
asshole countries.
Yeah, shitholes, what he said.
Yeah.
I mean, really? Come on, let's go. Fire up, everybody. Yeah. Pull your car over, get on the phone, and sign up to do some grassroots activism. Let's go.
He is the former governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, the former chair of this party, the Democratic Party, the former chair of a couple conventions. He's done it all, and he still talks to me, which I'm grateful for.
Can I say one thing before we go?
You may.
When you go to bed tonight, you think about this. Patrick Henry, first governor of Virginia, started the American Revolution. Give me liberty, give me death. Second governor, Thomas Jefferson, who became our 3rd president. Patrick Henry, Thomas Jefferson, Terry McAuliffe. You take that to bed with you tonight, Tavis. It will be a big night.
I love you, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
More Tavis Smiley live from the DNC when we come forward.
This is getting good.
Yeah, man.
Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. President Biden will headline the first night of the Democratic National Convention. The president was originally expected to accept his party's nomination on Thursday, but after dropping out of the race, Vice President Kamala Harris is now set to formally accept the nomination instead. Cops are investigating a deadly mass shooting in Baltimore, Maryland. Police Commissioner Richard Worley says there were 8 adult victims, one of them fatally shot. The conditions of the others range from stable to critical. The family of Roger Forston is seeking charges 3 months after he was shot and killed by police. Back in May, Florida deputies responded to the wrong apartment and ended up at the home of the 23-year-old Forston, a black airman. Deputy Eddie Duran fired 6 shots, killing him in seconds. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Dominican slugger Teoscar Hernandez will send you home on Tuesday, August 20th with your next bobblehead. Be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance versus the Mariners to receive an exclusive Teoscar Hernandez bobblehead presented by Inaba. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The losing continues for the LA Sparks in the WNBA. They lost by 16 Sunday at Las Vegas. 4th straight loss for the Sparks, who dropped to 6-21. The Sparks are 5 games out of the 8th and final playoff spot with 13 games left on the schedule. The Dodgers are home for a 9-game homestand beginning tonight against Seattle. The Dodgers are 21 games over 500 after winning in St. Louis Sunday. The Angels had a disappointing 1-5 homestand after Sunday's loss to Atlanta. The loss dropped the Angels into last place in the AL West. First time the Angels have been at the bottom since June 8th. The Angels begin a 10-game road trip tonight in Kansas City. Today is August 19th. The Chicago White Sox, with a 30-95 record, the worst in the major leagues, are already eliminated from the playoffs. This is the earliest date a team has been eliminated from the postseason since MLB started divisional playoffs in 1969. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Around here, we don't believe in victimhood. We believe in raising our voices, amplifying black voices in the climate conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downy are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/TC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
We do indeed, from the city of Chicago, inside the United Center, side of the Democratic National Convention, which officially kicks off today. We'll be here every day this week, through Thursday, that is, broadcasting live from the Windy City. You heard Terry McAuliffe, former governor of Virginia, former chair of this party, yell in the microphone while we were live on the air, like he ain't got no good sense. There goes Lee Saunders, the head of the best union in America. That Lee Saunders is now at the microphone himself. He's head of AFSCME, so I'm sure that many of you listening right now all across the country may very well be members of his union. Mr. Saunders, good to have you here, sir.
Glad to be here.
Good to have you here for these few moments. Let me just jump right in. I think I want to start with this. We had Sean Fain on this program not long ago, so I know all of you union heads had to be sick and tired of Donald Trump by the time he made that comment to Elon Musk, threatening to fire workers who want to go out on strike. As the president of AFSCME, how did you read that comment?
It's something that he says all the time, and it's who he is.
Yeah.
And it's what he's about. And we've got to make sure that our members understand who he is and what he's about, and the kinds of things that he will do to continue to hurt them, whether it's attacking healthcare, whether it's being opposed to trying to get support for people that have heavy student debt. I mean, he is a person that does not support working families.
Mm-hmm.
And we have in the Democratic Party, we have Kamala Harris and we have Tim Walz, who stood by us, and they continue to stand by us. They're one of us. They're one of us. I mean, they come from unions. They come from public service, and they understand the issues that impact on public service employees. So we're going to go all out.
Yep.
The 1.4 million members.
What are the 2 or 3 issues that most matter to your union members in this election?
Well, I mean, you've got Project 2025. Mm-hmm. You've got Trump, who's trying to run away from that, saying that it's not a part of his thinking, but that's not true. Mm-hmm. All of his people who we work with have developed this project. One of the things that impacts on us the most in the public sector is it gets rid of public sector unions. Mm-hmm. Public employees would not have the right to bargaining. They would not have the right to form collectively into a union, to have a seat at the table, to talk about wages and working conditions. They want to wipe us out completely. That's the big thing for us. But then you look at what they're talking about as far as reducing healthcare costs and attacking Medicare and Medicaid. So, I mean, we've got to really go all out and make sure that our members are educated and informed, and we organize, mobilize, and educate them every single day so they come out and vote.
I'm not naive about this, and neither are you. That's the reason you're the president of AFSCME. So you obviously well know you have Republican members and you have Democratic members. You have both. I suspect some independents as well. So is it the party that is hostile to the best interest of American workers, certainly those who belong to your union, or are we talking just individuals? I mean, my question is this a Trump issue or is this a GOP issue, this hostility toward union issues?
Well, it's more of a Trump issue. I
right.
mean, at one time, we were able to work with Republicans, especially at the state and local level, mm-hmm. and they were pro-labor. They were supportive of our needs. But since he's been in office and this MAGA piece has taken over, he's shut down completely any kind of conversations or any kinds of connections that could have existed between us and the Republican Party. But this is what's important. And we do have, you're right, we have Democrats, we have Republicans, we have independents, we have third parties. I mean, we've got everything in our union. We educate them. We talk to them about the issues that confront them every single day. We don't tell them how to vote. Mm-hmm. What we do is we educate them, and then we let them make the decision. And we communicate with them in a way where they get it and they understand why this election is so very important. And then we let them make the choice. But when you lay out the plan, mm-hmm. when you lay out the positions that Trump takes versus Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, there's no choice. And mm-hmm. Our people understand that.
Let me ask you to grade Joe Biden. Joe Biden is speaking at this convention tonight. We're heard across the country, different markets, different times. But on Monday evening, wherever you're listening, Joe Biden is the featured speaker. Tomorrow night, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Wednesday night, the aforementioned Governor Walz, Lee Saunders just mentioned his name. And Thursday night, of course, the big speech from Kamala Harris. But Joe Biden takes the stage tonight here just a few feet from where I'm sitting right now inside the United Center. Grade for me how Joe Biden has done in this one historic term on issues that matter to your AFSCME union members.
A+. A+.
Are you grading on the curve?
No. Look, listen. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. He pushed for the American Rescue Plan, which saved thousands of public service jobs across the country. Billions of dollars were sent to state and local governments that kept our people employed and they were able to negotiate good contracts and good wages because of that. You look at the infrastructure program that was developed. I mean, supportive of workers all across the country. He kids me all the time saying that he is the best president for labor that this country has ever had. You know what? He's right.
Yeah.
He's right. I mean, he believes it. It's in his gut. I mean, he really believes that in order for the American worker to be successful, they need to have the opportunity to be represented by a union. And he believes that, in fact, if there are barriers put in place from workers organizing, then he wants to take them out. So, I mean, does that mean that we agreed with him 100% of the time? No, but as far as what he stood for and what he was able to do, I'd give him an A+.
We've known him over his 50 years in politics, in public service, as Scranton Joe. We know who he is. So this is not a new story for those who have known his backstory, that he would get into office and be good on union issues. What is it about Kamala Harris that makes you trust and believe that she will continue in that same vein?
We've known Kamala for a long time, ever since she was in California, Attorney General. I mean, we worked with her very closely. She has a connection with our people. She's concerned about developing a strong care economy for child care workers and home care workers who take care of our children, who take care of the elderly, who take care of the disabled. She believes that we've got to have a strong program in place for them. She believes that collective bargaining and have that seat at the table is so important for workers if they choose to be represented by a union. So she's going to continue the legacy of Joe Biden, but she's going to do some more creative kinds of things, I believe, in order to deal with the people that need help and need support all across the country.
Here's my extra question, Lee Saunders. I've had this conversation so many times in my career. Over the last number of years, if I had a dime for every conversation I've been in about unions being on life support, I might be independently wealthy. You know this narrative better than I do because you're the president of AFSCME. So for a long time, the narrative was in America that unions are on life support. Over the last couple of years, unions have had a really strong, good run. I ain't got time to run all the victories, you know, which I speak. Is this just a moment where we're seeing unions having these victories, or something changing in America that's re-energizing unions?
Oh, we believe that it's changing. 67% of the American population believe that unions are absolutely necessary in the fabric of our society. What's more important, Tavis, is that 88% of young people believe that. So you see organizing taking place all over the country, whether it's in our sector, public sector, and museums, and I mean, we're going into the cultural sector now. You look at what happened with the UAW, you look at what happened with the Teamsters, you look at what's happening with AFT and NEA and SEIU. This is an opportunity for us to organize, and we've got to take complete advantage of that. A lot of it's going to depend upon who is elected in November. Can we continue that momentum, or are we going to have a brick wall built in front of us, so we're going to have to continue to try to climb over every single day? That's why this election is so important, because if you elect Kamala Harris and if you elect Bill Walz, then you are going to have two people who care about working families, who believe in unions and support what we do every single day.
It won't surprise you to know that there are a number of major unions here in Chicago alongside us in the United Center at the Democratic National Convention. The issue of workers and worker rights will be clearly on display here on the stage starting tonight all the way through Thursday. You will see a number of featured speakers talking about the importance of labor in this economy. Lee Saunders is president of AFSCME, who I am honored once again to have been in dialogue with. Lee, thank you for your work, man. Good to have you on this program.
Thank you for having me. Good seeing you.
My great honor. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward live from the DNC in Chicago.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Febreze.
So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze. La 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 la.
Tavis is like George and Wheezy. He's moving on up. Last year, Tavis was number 45 on the Talkers magazine list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. Wait for it. Wait for it. The 2024 list was recently released, and Tavis has jumped to number 33 on the list of the nation's most important talkers, making him the highest-ranked African-American on the coveted roster. Congratulations to Tavis Smiley from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580. We've got you black.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
You are indeed, and I'm glad about it. I am pleased to be joined now by a former Apprentice contestant. Remember that show, Donald Trump, The Apprentice? Well, if you do, you remember Kwame Jackson. Kwame Jackson now runs a PAC called Together. I'll let him explain what that is, but I was just saying to Kwame when he sat down, that I was on the plane last night from LA to Chicago, and I was surrounded by a bunch of PAC people, not black people, PAC people. Some of the PAC people are black people, and Kwame Jackson's one of them. Kwame, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Tavis. Always good to be on.
Tell me about your PAC, man.
Well, Together is a PAC that is really focused on mobilizing Gen Z through the lenses of causes, because we know that Gen Z doesn't see themselves through the lens of political parties. They're not Democrats, they're not Republicans, they're not necessarily independents. They see themselves through the lens of causes. So we're about amplifying causes that help them build platforms to fund those causes and then organize around them. So they say, I'm, anti-gun violence, or I am pro-environmentalism. They find a cause first, and then they kind of find their lane from there. So we're about building a technology platform to help them identify themselves and organize, but then also to fund those causes as well. And then we also have funded and selected 10 candidates for this race.
Disabuse me and others listening right now of the notion that Gen Z doesn't care about politics.
I'm all about converting what I call kind of that TikTok energy into action at the polls, right? And so we are looking to have them show up, obviously, in this election. They represent about 20% of the voting populace for this particular election, and we're trying to make sure that we mobilize them and engage them to come to the polls. They care about politics in the lens of causes. So you connect that cause with what they want to do, and that's how you actually get them to the polls.
Give me more about more of the range of causes that you have connected to.
Yeah, so gun violence obviously is one of their primary causes. The environmental action is one of their primary causes. Reproductive rights for, obviously gender equity is one of their big causes. So there's a number of causes, AI and equitable AI, right? The rollout of AI so that you don't have a digital divide, so that you don't have some of these kind of, machine learning errors that you see from large data models. That's a big concern for them. So I think that Gen Z is activated, but you have to talk to them and meet them where they are, which is in the digital space. It's in the gaming space. It's at the networks that they care about, and then get them to show up at the polls from there.
Do you think that particular generation can be the difference maker, the differentiator in this election?
In this election, I think they're going to be on the margin very important. But I think as we go forward, their base is going to continue to grow. There's a saying, there's a study right now that says basically in the next 4 to 8 years, if you combine millennial voters and Gen Z voters, they're going to represent about 47% of all voters. So they're going to be a huge block. They're going to change the demography. Obviously, they're energized around a candidate like Vice President Harris and even Tim Walz kind of being there, Bernie Sanders for this generation, right? So they're coming out to support him, and I think that's great.
As I mentioned when Kwame first took the chair, that many of us know him or got to know him as a contestant on The Apprentice. When we come forward, our remaining moments with Kwame, I want to ask him about the guy that became famous for saying "you're fired" on The Apprentice. I laugh every time I see Kwame. Like, okay, you're at the Democratic convention, but that other guy was at the Republican convention. Are you sure you're in the right place?
I'm always in the right place. This is my 4th DNC. I was speaking for the North Carolina delegates way back in 2004 for Kerry in Boston.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
I definitely show up and show out in the right lane.
Yeah, we were there in Boston together all those years ago. When we come forward, we'll talk about his time on The Apprentice with one Donald J. Trump. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Kwame Jackson, who you got to know from The Apprentice as one of the contestants on Donald Trump's show back on NBC in the day. But now has his own pack called Together. I was talking to Terry McAuliffe, former governor of Virginia, earlier on today's program about the role that money is or is not going to play this time around, because there's just so much money on both sides of the aisle. Here you come from the PAC world. Talk to me about the role that you think money will or won't play in this particular race.
Money's always going to be crucial. And ever since Citizens United, love it or hate it, you can't bring, a spoon to a knife fight, right? You got to come armed, and that's what the money is about. And so there's always going to be money in the equation. I wish there was less, but since that is the equation, we have to come prepared, ready to spend. I mean, I was on the Black Man for Harris call, the one that really went well. And, we raised a bunch of money. And then obviously Black Women with Harris raised a bunch of money in all the different constituency groups. And I think that money will definitely play a role. I mean, the first, 24, 48 hours of the Harris, pivot was a $300 million raise. And so that'll all be deployed in key swing states.
Yep. You were with Mr. Trump back in the day on The Apprentice. We ain't got time to unearth all that. But what do you think of the guy that you were hanging out with then on The Apprentice and the guy that he has become?
I always call it a devolution. It's not an evolution, it's a devolution. And basically, it's a pun intended when you think about that, right? The root word devil, but the same thing that you're devolving into something that's even more base, even more, nefarious, even more evil. And it's sad because I think there was a time maybe when he could have done something more positive, but then, we go way back to the birther movement and leading that campaign when I really first started to break from him and everything that was involved with the show. And I was like, hey, if you're indicting Obama, you're indicting me. You're asking for his credentials, his papers. You're inviting me as well. So I think that, it's unfortunate if you think about how he's devolved, but now we got to, fight the power.
Well, speaking of birtherism, but he tried it again. It didn't work with Obama, but he brought it back up again with Kamala.
Oh, the remix.
The remix.
The remix.
At the NABJ gathering.
Yep.
What'd you make of that?
Yep. I was watching that live, and that was a complete train wreck. And, to see him go and try what I always call his reservoir of racism. That's what he goes to. That's like his go-to. Like some people have a backhand, a forehand, switch up dribble. He's always going to go to racism to try and score points. And unfortunately for him, that's not going to work the same way it did in 2016. Every year that lessens in its efficacy.
Yep. What do you what kind of enthusiasm are you feeling in this hall already today?
Man, the energy here is palpable. I mean, ever since the pivot to Vice President Harris, you've seen it in the DNC, being in the United Center and feeling kind of the energy in Chicago. You can see people motivated and really ready to come out, ready to engage, ready to speak on it. I think that, Vice President Harris is going to have her Obama 04 convention moment. So she has to bring the funk. She has to bring the pain on her speech, and she has to unite and make sure she inspires folks.
Sizzle, no fizzle.
That's it.
Sizzle, no fizzle, my nizzle. 30 seconds left. You say a word about your Together, Pat.
I definitely want folks to visit togetherpurple.org. I always say no money, no movement. We're always looking to raise funds. We're always looking to organize Gen Z and give them the causes that they care about on a platform that they can be proud of. So visit togetherpurple.org, sign up to volunteer, make sure you fundraise and help us, with donations and see what we're doing to really motivate Gen Z voters.
Kwame Jackson, always on honor, sir, to see you.
My man.
Thanks for your time.
Always good to be on with the Noops.
Thank you, sir. Yo, this is I'm going to hear about that the rest of the convention. This is Tavis Smiley live from the DNC in Chicago.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. President Biden will headline the first night of the Democratic National Convention. The president was originally expected to accept his party's nomination on Thursday, but after dropping out of the race, Vice President Kamala Harris is now set to formally accept the nomination instead. Cops are investigating a deadly mass shooting in Baltimore, Maryland. Police Commissioner Richard Worley says there were 8 adult victims, one of them fatally shot. The conditions of the others range from stable to critical. The family of Roger Forston is seeking charges 3 months after he was shot and killed by police. Back in May, Florida deputies responded to the wrong apartment and ended up at the home of the 23-year-old Forston, a black airman. Deputy Eddie Duran fired 6 shots, killing him in seconds. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Dominican slugger Teoscar Hernandez will send you home on Tuesday, August 20th with your next bobblehead. Be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance versus the Mariners to receive an exclusive Teoscar Hernandez bobblehead presented by Inaba. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The losing continues for the LA Sparks in the WNBA. They lost by 16 Sunday at Las Vegas. 4th straight loss for the Sparks, who dropped to 6-21. The Sparks are are 5 games out of the 8th and final playoff spot with 13 games left on the schedule. The Dodgers are home for a 9-game homestand beginning tonight against Seattle. The Dodgers are 21 games over 500 after winning in St. Louis Sunday. The Angels had a disappointing 1-5 homestand after Sunday's loss to Atlanta. The loss dropped the Angels into last place in the AL West. First time the Angels have been at the bottom since June 8th. The Angels begin a 10-game road trip tonight in Kansas City. Today is August 19th. The Chicago White Sox, with a 30-95 record, the worst in the major leagues, are already eliminated from the playoffs. This is the earliest date a team has been eliminated from the postseason since MLB started divisional playoffs in 1969. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here's what happens when you advertise on KBLA Talk 1580.
3, possibly 4 weeks ago, I heard an advertisement on your radio station from a company called Grid Solar. I would love to have that phone number so I can reach out to them with reference to solar panels being installed on my property.
Our listeners are aware and engaged, but more than that, they are loyal. When they hear empowering messages that uplift their community and help them live better lives, they respond. No medium reaches this coveted black audience like KBLA Talk 1580. So, hit us up today at smb@kbla1580.com and let us help you connect with our loyal listeners. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Money to bud.
I'm Tavis Smiley. We are live in the United Center in Chicago, side of the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, which begins today in earnest. Tonight, President Joe Biden will kick things off. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, former Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama will speak. And then on Wednesday night, Tim Walz, the running mate of Kamala Harris, governor of Minnesota, will speak on Wednesday. And then Thursday night, the big speech from Kamala Harris. And it's going to be quite a week. I've been talking to a number of guests today, in case you've just tuned in and missed our first couple of hours. We've talked about what we can expect this week. Certainly her speech on Thursday night will be a historic moment. I was in Denver. First of all, I was in Boston when Obama gave his big 2004 speech. I was at that convention. I've been at all these conventions. I'm getting old. I was in Boston when Obama gave the big speech that put him on the map. And I was in Denver when he accepted the nomination on the anniversary of the March on Washington, Dr. King and all that. I was in Denver for that speech. And I'm honored to be here in Chicago when history is made once again on Thursday night with this black woman named Kamala Harris accepting this party's official nomination and advancing toward what is increasingly appearing to be a race that she's closing the gap and leading in certain spaces. So another history-making moment in my career. I'm just honored to be in Chicago and to be in the room on Thursday night when all this goes down. I was trying to talk to Miles. I'm in Chicago, obviously, and Miles, my board op, who I see every day, is back in LA in my studio. And I was trying to get a message to him right quick. There's a particular song that I want him to play. So Miles, I'm talking to you now. When we come back from this break, play this track for me. When we come back from the break, I want to hear it. And you'll understand my point in just a second here. So I want to introduce to you Gabe Amo. Gabe Amo is a member of Congress from Rhode Island. Wait for it. He's a member of Congress, newly elected, from Rhode Island, but he's a black man. And I know that because I'm looking at him right now sitting next to me. I can see that he is a black man.
This is true.
Yeah, this is true. He said, this Negro is from Rhode Island. And I said to him when he sat down, I only know one other black person from Rhode Island. He said, who? I said, Jeffrey Osborne, LTD. It's from Providence. And if you've never heard Jeffrey's backstory, I'll save that until I'll tell some of that backstory a little bit later. But Jeffrey Osborne is from Providence, and there's an amazing story about how the OJs came to town one night and their drummer got drunk, got high. Well, I'll tell the story now. I'm already telling you. So if you don't know the Jeffrey Osborne backstory, we'll get to Congressman Almo in a second, because he has a fascinating connection to Jeffrey Osborne. I said, I only know one Negro from Rhode Island. He said, let me tell you this. I said, hold it. Tell me on the air. So I ain't heard the Jeffrey Osborne story yet. But he's going to tell me in a second here. So Jeffrey Osborne was on this program. I talked to Jeffrey many times over the course of his career and my career. But the backstory, very quickly, if you don't know this, Osborne grows up in Providence. The OJs come to town one night. Their drummer is so drunk, so high, that he can't play the drums. And they're looking desperately for a drummer to play this gig in Providence. And somebody said there's a kid, he's only 13 or 14. There's a kid here in Providence who's the best drummer in Providence. And they said, we can't have no 14-year-old kid playing drums at a show for the mighty OJs. And they said, well, it's the only kid we know. So they found the kid. His name was Jeffrey Osborne. They had him come to a rehearsal, and they were completely blown away what a great drummer this 14-year-old kid was. Jeffrey Osborne that night sat in and played with the OJs. He's a 14-year-old kid, and he's sitting in playing with the OJs. And they were so impressed with this kid named Jeffrey Osborne that they asked his mama, could they take him on the road with him? And she said, absolutely not. And Osborne was so distraught that he couldn't go on the road with the OJs to begin his professional music career. Fast forward years later, he's in LTD. And as you know, he's the drummer for LTD. And they told Jeffrey Osborne, not unlike somebody told George Benson, don't sing. They told George, just play the guitar. They told Jeffrey Osborne, just play the drums. The rest, as they say, is history. I'm glad that that neither Jeffrey Osborne nor George Benson took the advice they were given to not sing. Think of all the hits from Jeffrey Osborne. Think of all the hits from George Benson. So that's the backstory to the only Negro I know from Rhode Island named Jeffrey Osborne. Now I have a new friend from Rhode Island. His name is Gabe Almo. He's a congressman from Rhode Island. I'm pleased to welcome him to this program. Congressman, good to see you. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Tavis. I'm here on the wings of love.
I love it. All right, Miles. We better do something faster now. Give me when we come forward, which we're not doing right this second, but when we come forward, Miles, give me some LTD.
Love ballad.
That's a little too slow. I need something faster. Give me something faster. Miles will give me something. He'll give me something. Back in Love Again. How about that one, Miles? Back in Love Again. We'll do that when we come forward. Before we do that, though, tell me about being a brother in Rhode Island.
Look, I've had a special life, one where I'm so grateful to be from Rhode Island. And speaking about, Jeffrey Osborne, he does an annual golf tournament in Rhode Island where he brings
still all these years later,
all these years
in Providence,
right? He just had it a few weeks ago, and I live on Benefit Street in Providence, Rhode Island, which is perpendicular to Jeffrey Osborne Way, which is only street in Providence, so named after him.
Wow.
Yes, and his brother Terrell hosts a soul and R&B radio show on Sundays.
Wow.
So that is my connection to Jeffrey Osborne,
right,
other than the inspiring music that he has made.
Yep.
But to your question, I represent Rhode Island's first congressional district, a congressional district that is less than 8% black. But in Rhode Island, we have both a tortured history and a history of success. People like Jeffrey Osborne, famous gospel singer Ciceretta Jones,
sure,
Tavis, the R&B group from the decades ago. But we also, are a place where we were the center of the transatlantic slave trade, right? The Brown University was founded on that history. So it is a dynamic and complex story, as history is. I'm the son of two West African immigrants, my dad from Ghana, my mom from Liberia, and they met in Rhode Island in the 80s. And so that's what brought me there. And, you think about the weird ties of history, where my dad is from in Ghana was one of the largest slave gathering points in all of West Africa. And my mother, being from Liberia, a country formed from formerly enslaved peoples who went back.
And their son ends up being a U.S. congressman.
Yes.
Hold that thought. There's more to get to. There's more to get to. You're listening to Gabe Almo, Congressman Gabe Almo, out of Rhode Island. I'm Tavis Smiley. We're in Chicago live at the Democratic National Convention, which kicks off today. When we're going to come forward, we're going to play somebody like Jeffrey Osborne. Y'all stay with us.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downy are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/TC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ziprecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Every time I move, I lose. When I look, I'm in. And every time I turn around, I'm back in love. I get mixed emotions. It's the way my feelings flow. Excuse me, I'm only human. Sometimes I just don't know. Every time I move, I lose. When I look, I'm in. And every time I turn around, I'm back in love again.
It's Jeffrey Osborne and LTD, back in love again. Thank you, Miles. Let it ride for a second, Miles, as I requested some Jeffrey Osborne because we are talking to Gabe Amo, who's a congressman from Rhode Island. He's a brother congressman from Rhode Island. I said to him, in case you just tuned in, I only know one Negro from Rhode Island. His name is Jeffrey Osborne. I love him. And leave it to my really, really, really smart audience. Now people are texting me and emailing me and telling me all the other black folk from Rhode Island, Viola Davis.
Viola Davis, Central Falls, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
She started her acting career in Rhode Island. Went to the Rhode Island College, one of our state schools, and then was a performer at Trinity Repertory Theater before she made it big on Broadway and then also the screen.
Yeah. So there you have it. We're growing this list of black folk who hail from the great state of Rhode Island, all 12 of them. But I'm honored to have their congressman right now from the 1st District, Gabe Amo. He was telling us an amazing story in case you may have just tuned in. He is the son of a Liberian mother and a Ghanaian father, and you end up as a member of Congress. How in the world does that happen?
Well, I always say in politics, you got to have a thesis statement. And for me, that is that I came to this because of the people who came before me who created the possibilities for me. Whether it's 16 generations ago or one generation ago, we all are tied by an obligation by people who came before us and demonstrated grit, hard work, resilience, determination to make our tomorrows better than today. So for me, that was my parents coming to this country. My dad, he owns a liquor store. James Clyburn also always says to me, Gabe, I knew you were going to win because your daddy owns a liquor store.
which means your daddy knows everybody.
Everybody. That's
There you
true.
go.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
And then my mother, similarly, the care economy. She is a nurse in nursing homes, right? And so has seen people, whether it's her colleagues or their families that she served, who said, I know that guy. I know his mom. And so that story, and where I traversed a lot of different worlds. I went to private school and in the city of Providence, but I also took public transportation to get there, which was uncommon. And that experience connected me to a lot of the threads of my congressional district, where people knew and heard from me that I wasn't running to make history. I was running to make a difference, but I wasn't going to forget who I am, where I come from, and why I do this.
How does a black man get elected in a district that is less than what percent black?
It's less than 8%.
Less than 8% black. We hear these stories all the time. This ain't my first rodeo. As you know, I've been at this for a lot of years. And I've had so many conversations about gerrymandering and about the drawings of lines and districts to either draw something black or to draw somebody black out of a seat. I've had it both ways over the course of my career. But it is rare that you have an African American who gets elected in a district that is less than 8% black. Tell me about that part, sir.
Yes. So, I have the honor of being the 60th member of the Congressional Black Caucus. They call me Mr. 60.
Yes.
The highest number we've had. And how, I come to that is, registering all the parts of my identity, right? When I go and see people at communities events in the district, they see me caring about the broad set of issues that I've focused on, Social Security and Medicare. That's not just a Democratic Party line. That affects certain communities disproportionately, and you have to speak to that. When we talk about addressing gun violence prevention, which I worked on when I worked at the White House, working for President Biden, they saw my experience doing it and my future-focused orientation to that work. So I would say a big part of it is the resume. I got an opportunity to work in 2 White Houses for President Obama as a junior staffer, worked for a governor of Rhode Island, and then I was the special assistant to the president and deputy director of the White House Office of Intergovernmental Affairs, working with mayors and governors across this country. And so that resume, combined with that set of issues that I focused on, combined with that life story, I think presented someone who was the most qualified in a big field. I had 15 people in that primary, and I won a third of the vote. First time I ever ran for office. And so that's the story that I think links me to, I know we'll get there eventually, but to Vice President Harris, right? You look at somebody who has transcended worlds, but always retained the strength of identity. And I think you can do that in our politics, even if you don't look like everybody you represent.
You are a fascinating story in a variety of ways, but in this particular instance, now I am referencing that you worked in the White House for the president, and now you're at a convention supporting the vice president to become the next president of these United States. How did you process that moment, that long moment that we were all enduring, where there was this increasing pressure on the president to stand down, to pass the baton to Kamala Harris? When you work for that guy, you don't process this the way the rest of us do. This is your president. You work for him every day in the White House, and you're seeing all this pressure on him to stand down. You're a black man. If he stands down, though, he's passing the baton to a black woman. Oh, my God, this story cuts a bunch of different ways for you. I know you understand what I'm talking about.
I know, I hear you.
All right, how did you navigate all of those different layers and textures, given who you are and the White House that you were working in?
Well, having known then Vice President Biden in the Obama White House and then President Biden in this White House, I know why he is doing this. He is motivated by a deep call to service for our country, to make sure that that longest walk that a parent has to make about their family being able to afford something, being able to deliver the promise of our economy to their next generation. He knows how difficult that is because he went through it. And in so many ways, you hear this from black members of Congress, there might not have been a more consequential president for the agenda of black America than Joe Biden. And that is clear, from the rescue plan to the infrastructure law to combating climate change and reducing the cost of prescription drugs. When you talk about insulin at $35, We know who that disproportionately affects. That is real focus and policy. So when he made the decision, a decision that only he could make, I stood with him till that moment. I was with him at his last campaign event. You remember, he went to Las Vegas.
That's right.
With Stephen Horsford and members of the Congressional Black Caucus. And I was with him that day, and I said, look, keep fighting. And we had to give him the space. But if it had to be anybody else, there was no other option, in my opinion, than Vice President Harris. She is prepared. She has been his governance partner. And she is, frankly, the person for this moment. And we saw that activated the second she got in. I endorsed her the second I congratulated President Biden on his exit, because she is the person for this moment. And you've seen it. This is the most excitement we've seen in a long time in our politics. It's about hope, optimism, joy for the mission ahead. That's how I felt. So, yeah, those feelings are complicated, and we're going to celebrate him tonight. We're going to give him his flowers that he deserves for pulling 50% of Black children out of poverty with that child tax credit, to make sure that kids aren't sitting in Taco Bell parking lot trying to get broadband so they could do their homework, to the telehealth that people need because of the expansion of that in his administration. So we're going to celebrate him, restoring democracy abroad, fighting against the biggest existential threat to our democracy in Donald Trump. But then he's going to talk about the future, why the baton has to be passed to Vice President Harris, why she has to be the next president, and why we are going to have an even stronger future because of the investments that we'll make in people and places around this country.
Kamala Harris was once a member of the Congressional Black Caucus when she was in the United States Senate. You are a member number 60. They call you Mr. 60.
Mr. 60.
So you are Mr. 60. I've been at this a long time. And when I first started doing this, there were 20-ish members of the Congressional Black Caucus. I've watched these numbers climb over the years, and it is a beautiful thing to be here in Chicago. And every time I take a move or take a step, I bump into somebody who's a member of the CBC, because the numbers, again, are bigger now than they've ever been. 60 is still a small number compared to the 435 who were in the House, but it's a significant number. And again, you are Mr. 60. Talk to me about what it means for us to have, at one moment, 60 African Americans serving in the House.
Yes, and now we have
a Senate. You got a couple
in the Senate, and then we have a couple CBC Black members, Republicans who aren't with us. But that said, I mean, for me, I'm awestruck. The history, when you think about the Conyers, when you think about the Lewis, when you think about the Shirley Chisholms,
the Ron Dellums,
the Barbara Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we got a list of legends, and I am humbled to be associated in any way with them. Now, I've been in Congress 9 months, so let's not get carried away. But what it means is we have governing power. The next Speaker of the House of Representatives will be Hakeem Jeffries.
That's right.
A member of the CBC. We have a boatload of committee chairs. Greg Meeks will be the Foreign Affairs Committee Chair. David Scott, Agriculture. Maxine Waters, Financial Services. It was certainly, when we look at all of the power that we will have, that will not just represent Black America. That represents hundreds and millions of Americans. And so that is a special opportunity to make our agenda, the agenda for Black people, also the agenda of this country, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And we're at a particular point in time where that 60 number will climb. We're doing the work to make that happen.
What would it mean? I've thought about this many, many times, but I am not a member of Congress, as are you, much less the CBC. What would it mean in this American moment for us to have an African-American woman as president and a brother as Speaker of the House? I mean, that if that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what does. And again, let me be very clear. This audience knows I'm not a sycophant. I am not that impressed by Black faces in high places. Symbolism matters. Substance matters more. So I'm unapologetically progressive in my politics. I don't back down from that. But it does mean something to be in a moment where you could have a Black woman as president and a brother as the Speaker of the House. Talk to me.
Just visualize, close your eyes and think about that State of the Union with a President Harris, a Vice President Walz behind her, and the Speaker Jeffries behind there.
There'd be 2 out of 3 black folk in the frame.
In the frame.
2 out of 3.
Now, we got to do something with all of that, right? It makes for a pretty picture.
Yeah.
But it makes for a better story of progress if we do the work that we need to do.
Right.
And that's why you have the vice president talking about an economic agenda where we focus on child tax credit, where we focus on home ownership, something that is out of reach for so many Americans, especially Black Americans, looking at the impacts of costs and gouging. This has to be substantial and a robust agenda, one that is about building people up, because we also know that when we make Black folks better off, everybody rises.
That's right.
Policy consistently has demonstrated that. So what it will mean is good feelings, but it will be a good effort, and not just an effort, but yield successes. So our work is to get those numbers as high as we can, win back the majority in the House, do whatever we can to hold that Senate, so we can fulfill the promise of this amazing leadership that we have on the doorstep.
Just 3 minutes left here with Congressman Gabe Amo of Rhode Island, but I'm still stuck on that image, that frame, that you'd have 2 out of 3 Black folk in that picture that we see every year whenever the president speaks in that well of the House. It's a moment.
Yes.
It could be a moment.
And so many people fought to make that possible.
Oh, no question about it. No question about it. In the 2 minutes I have left, this is going to be a great week for Democrats. It's shaping up to be a great convention. Again, President Biden speaks tonight. Former Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama speak tomorrow night. Wednesday night, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, the vice presidential candidate. Thursday night, the big speech from Kamala Harris, who will, I'm sure, kill it on Thursday night. And then she'll get a bump out of this convention. We'll see how long that bump lasts. And then it's going to get ugly.
Yeah.
And we're pushing our way toward that first debate. I got 2 minutes left here. What do you expect to see on stage when we see for the first time Donald Trump and Kamala Harris together on stage?
I think we will see the most stark juxtaposition we've ever seen in the history of our politics. And it's not just the prosecutor felon frame. It's beyond that. Someone who is fundamentally in it for himself versus someone who is defending democracy, advancing an agenda of progress, and frankly represents a broad set of the majority of American interests to have everybody thrive in our economy. And so when I see that, I don't expect it to be easy. I think it's going to be difficult. And the vice president is a masterful speaker and debater. But make no mistake, he is going to distract with Project 2025 tactics, but she will paint a vision of positivity, and that's the biggest difference we'll see.
I'm not one who ever uses that phrase, only in America. I know people are well-intentioned when they say that, but there are a lot of other countries where people of color have done some pretty amazing things. So I never say only in America, but it is quite an amazing story to have a Liberian mother, a Ghanaian father, to be raised in Rhode Island, and to be elected to Congress in a district that has less than 8% Black people. That's a big deal. You a bad man, Gabe Amo. You a bad man. And I'm honored to have had you on this program, sir.
Thank you, Tavis.
Thank you for your time. Tavis Smiley from the DNC and the United Center in Chicago. More of this program when we come forward.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance is pushing back against recent polling, showing a surge in support for Vice President Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential race. Appearing on Fox News Sunday, Vance said early polling often does not reflect the outcome of the election. The family of Roger Forston is seeking charges 3 months after he was shot and killed by police. Back in May, Florida deputies responded to the wrong apartment and ended up at the home of the 23-year-old Forston, a black airman. Gen Z is spending more than 5 hours a day on social media, and it's affecting their mental health. That's according to a Talker research survey of 2,000 Gen Z social media users. The survey also said boredom is the most common reason they get on social media. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Dominican slugger Teoscar Hernandez will send you home on Tuesday, August 20th with your next bobblehead. Be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance versus the Mariners to receive an exclusive Teoscar Hernandez bobblehead presented by Inaba. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotion.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The losing continues for the LA Sparks in the WNBA. They lost by 16 Sunday at Las Vegas. 4th straight loss for the Sparks, who dropped to 6-21. The Sparks are 5 games out of the 8th and final playoff spot with 13 games left on the schedule. The Dodgers are home for a 9-game homestand beginning tonight against Seattle. The Dodgers are 21 games over 500 after winning in St. Louis Sunday. The Angels had a disappointing 1-5 homestand after Sunday's loss to Atlanta. The loss dropped the Angels into last place in the AL West. First time the Angels have been at the bottom since June 8th. The Angels begin a 10-game road trip tonight in Kansas City. Today is August 19th. The Chicago White Sox, with a 30-95 record, the worst in the major leagues, are already eliminated from the playoffs. This is the earliest date a team has been eliminated from the postseason since MLB started divisional playoffs in 1969. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Blindster is a family-run business that began in 2010, and we've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters and received over 100,000 five-star reviews. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health, but building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
but it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downy are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/DC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Nikki Fried, who's the chair of the Florida Democratic Party. Honored to have you on this program on the first day of the convention, which is today, Monday, here in Chicago. All the states are here, of course, and each of these states has a big breakfast on the first morning, and all the different caucuses meet at their various hotels, and they have these amazing breakfasts. I try to go as many as I can. But today was that day, and I'm pleased to talk to Nikki Fried right about now. Nikki, how are you today?
We're doing great. Smiles on all of our faces.
There you go. It's good to see you. I got just a few minutes. I want to run through a couple of things. I was joking with you when you sat down in the chair that over the course of my career, I've had a number of moments with you Floridians politically. I'm thinking of the hanging chads.
Yep.
I'm thinking of certainly this election, Ron DeSantis. I'm thinking of Mr. Trump in Mar-a-Lago, and yet that's one side of the story. The other side is that there's a strong Democratic Party in Florida. Talk to me about what we can expect from Florida this time around.
We have been able to really regroup since the losses of 2022. A totally new Democratic Party, new ecosystem. We have 25,000 new volunteers since Harris is the nominee in our state. We're knocking on doors. This past weekend, we have hit a milestone of 1 million doors that have been knocked since 2024, 1.3 million phone calls before our Tuesday primary. And so you see the energy, you see the commitment, the organization. First time in over 30 years that we have filled every one of our congressional, House, and Senate seats. We're building a machine here, and we can guarantee we are making it competitive, and Florida's in play. Polls are showing the momentum is shifting.
What's it like to be in a state where you are fighting to be competitive?
Well, as our last statewide elected Democrat, I know what it feels like to fight every single day and to be in that cabinet with Ron DeSantis for 4 years. I have a philosophy in life. I'd rather be the underdog and be able to be scrappy. Yeah. And so when we get those wins, we shock the country.
Yep. What are your expectations of this week? There's been so much conversation, as you know, about the fact that this team may be, that the team of Harris and Walz may be too progressive, too liberal. That's the rub. How do you respond to that?
First of all, look at the actual accomplishments in the Biden-Harris administration. The vice president, who, as we all know, was a past U.S. senator, was an attorney general for her state, fighting against crime every single day. So she is a fierce fighter for the issues that are mattering to all of the people of the state. In Florida, we've seen she's been here for 13 times. Every time that there is a Ron DeSantis, a foot in mouth, whether it's Black history or abortion rights, we're now living under a 6-week abortion ban, and abortion's on our ballot this year, as well as cannabis legalization. And so we see that the issues that Kamala Harris and Governor Walz have been able to move the needles on in their own respective states, in their own platforms, are things that are resonating with the people of our state.
Yep. And finally, as we sit here today, how good do you feel about what will happen in November?
I keep painting this picture for Florida Democrats. As we all know, the Panhandle is an hour behind the rest of the East Coast. And so when the Panhandle closes, and at 9:05, when the state of Florida can be declared, and it is declared for Kamala Harris, it's game over. It's game over. We know that there is no road to the White House for Donald Trump if he loses Florida. So we know that we have been on those front lines fighting the MAGA extremism, fighting Ron DeSantis extremes that he's taken our state. Number one issue for people in our state is property insurance, which has increased 400% since Ron DeSantis became governor. Those are the issues that are important. And it's Florida Democrats that are on the front lines. And with the 6-week abortion ban and that on the ballot, as well as legalization, I do think that we've got an excellent opportunity, a united front, everything moving in the right direction, that we can see some really big wins up and down the ballot.
Well, you're right. If Kamala can flip Florida, it's over.
It's over.
Game over. Nikki Fried, good to have you on the program.
Well, thanks for having me
All
today.
the best to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
There's Nikki Fried, chair of the Democratic Party in Florida. You can run, do your other stuff. I appreciate it. She was afraid to move because I'm still live on the radio. It's okay. I want to just take a moment here before we get to our last guest. Thank you very much. Thank you. I want to take a moment before we get to the last guest of today's program. And what a busy first day it's been. We've got so many great guests lined up for you the rest of the week. We'll be here all the way through Thursday, broadcasting live from the DNC. Again, President Biden speaks tonight. Tomorrow night, former Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Wednesday night, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota, the running mate, will speak on Wednesday night. And then the big speech from Vice President Kamala Harris on Thursday night. Before, again, I get to our last guest of today, I promised to do this earlier. I want to do this right now while I've got a few minutes. I am honored to be syndicated across the country in major markets everywhere, from New York to Chicago to Philly to, obviously, L.A. You run the list of all the stations that we are blessed to be syndicated on in less than a year. We've only been syndicated for less than a year now, and we're heard literally all across the country from California to the Carolinas. But we put a call out just about a few weeks ago, put a call out to urban stations across the country and said that basically any urban station, I don't care what your format is, any urban station that wants to carry our program for this week, we are happy to give you this program pro bono for this 1 week, because we want to make sure that we're talking to as many people as we can, as big an audience as possible. And I recognize that everybody can't afford to bring a team to Chicago to cover this convention. So we are going to offer our show this week pro bono to any station that wants to carry it. And I want to just run a list of some of the stations that I'm honored to be heard on this week just for this special programming. And I thank them for giving their audiences a chance to hear this program live from the convention in Chicago. KZZC out in, what is that, Arkansas, KJUK in Texas, KTHN in Texas, KAZI in Texas, KBWC in Texas. You can see a lot of stations. It's a big state. A lot of stations in Texas carrying this program today. WLCD in Jackson, Tennessee. WVAI in Charlottesville, Virginia. We heard former Governor Terry McAuliffe on this program earlier. He was governor when that Charlottesville drama went down, and Donald Trump said there were good folk on both sides. Wrong. We're pleased to be on today in Charlottesville. KDIV in Arkansas. KOYO in California. WANM in Florida. Just spoke to the Democratic chair of the party in Florida. WASU in Georgia. KAYT in Louisiana. A bunch of Louisiana stations here. KAYT. What else do I have here? KQJO in Louisiana. WHPR in Michigan, in Detroit. And a number of other stations in Buffalo, New York. WUFO in Buffalo. WIGO in Atlanta. WDAO in Dayton. There's a long list of these stations. I want to just shout some of those stations out who we're honored to be heard on today in their respective markets. Thank you for giving us a chance to be heard this week and to bring this convention to your audiences. I see Chris Shays. Chris Shays, come sit down, man. I see Chris Shays, who's here.
I get to speak.
Yeah, yes, you do.
Sit next to the legend.
Sit down here, man. I don't know about being a legend. You're the legend. Put these headphones on, man. How are you, sir?
I am well, but you are the legend. It's an honor.
It's an honor to see you.
Thank you, sir.
I wanted you on. I'm glad we could get you in. And let me just tee this up. I got a minute here. Let me tee this up. When we come forward, we'll spend the last 15 minutes of this program talking to Chris Shays. Chris Shays is a former member of the House, a Republican, who is supporting
Kamala Harris.
Leaning closer.
Kamala Harris, and I am, as someone said, I'm a happy supporter of Kamala Harris.
I like that. He's a happy supporter of the happy warrior, Kamala Harris. And so when we come forward, I want to ask this former member of Congress, a Republican, why he's supporting Kamala Harris. We'll do that when we come forward on Tavis Smiley from the DNC in Chicago.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine. Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Tavis is like George and Wheezy. He's moving on up. Last year, Tavis was number 45 on the Talkers magazine list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America. Wait for it. Wait for it. The 2024 list was recently released, and Tavis has jumped to number 33 on the list of the nation's most important talkers, making him the highest-ranked African-American on the coveted roster. Congratulations to Tavis Smiley from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580. We've got you black, 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 black. Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
No, never. Nobody wants to admit it.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed, and I'm glad about it. He's our last guest of the day. We got just a few more minutes in this hour. But Chris Shays is our guest, and I'm honored to have him on. I have followed his work and known him for years, of course, as a member of Congress. And there are a few people, actually more than a few, who are Republican. There are a lot of people who worked in the Trump administration the first go-around who have said they would never support him. And there are a lot of people are trying to bring the rest of us to understand how dangerous he would be if he were reelected once again. And so Chris Shays is one of those Republicans who has decided that he's going to support Kamala Harris. Tell me why.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna want to make this very clear. It's not just because I fear Donald Trump. I am so excited about Kamala Harris. She is a breath of fresh air. And for me, this is a wish come true. I got into politics in 1974, and for me, it was an honor and a privilege. And I knew my job was to, if I lost, concede defeat respectfully. If I won, to be an inspired leader. And we don't see that in Donald Trump, and we see it in Kamala Harris. I love her joy. I love her talking about the future, not the past. I love her kindness versus Donald Trump's meanness. All the contrasts are stunning. They're absolutely stunning.
Yeah. You are the third person by my count today who's used the word joy in referencing her.
Yeah.
Now, all the Democrats are using the word weird to describe Trump and company. I get it. But you're the third person literally on this first day of our coverage from the DNC to use the word joy to describe her. I talked to Terry McAuliffe earlier in today's program, former governor of Virginia, as you know, former chair of the Democratic Party, and ran a couple of these conventions. So he knows something of this. And he and I had a conversation about the extent to which her demeanor that happy warrior demeanor over and against the brooding menace. You've been a politician for a long time, since your first rodeo. You know how much imagery, how much optics matter in electoral politics. What say you about the optic of her against him, since you used the word joy to describe her?
Well, it's the contrast. I mean, it's old versus young. So let me start over. It's young versus old.
Yeah.
It's joy versus anger. It's kindness versus meanness and cruelty. It's light versus darkness. I mean, there's so many words. I want to tell you this story, though, Travis.
Sure.
I marvel at a story about an Indian tribe out west, and they would teach their children the following. They would say, Travis, you're my son now.
Mm-hmm.
Travis, within you is a good wolf and a bad wolf. The good wolf is kind, loving, thoughtful, inspired, intelligent. And the bad wolf is mean and ugly and unkind and dumb. And you will grow up, Travis, depending on which wolf you feed.
Mm-hmm.
I use that analogy to describe American politics. Donald Trump is feeding the bad wolf within us. And Kamala Harris is feeding the good wolf. What more can you ask?
Nope. Simply put, and that's what you need in moments like these, you need a simple analogy that folk understand and can follow for why this moment is so critical. Indeed, it is. We are live in Chicago. Pleased to be here covering the DNC on day one. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chuchas opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chuchas Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Freedom is an endless meeting, so let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
I love it.
You-
I love it.
Yeah, he likes looking at you. So do I.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, former Congressman Chris Shays, I'm honored to have on this program. We got about 4 minutes left here. What an amazing first day. And
Tavis, I got to interrupt you right now.
Sure.
I have a great friend named Travis.
Right.
And I think I called you Travis instead of Tavis.
I've been called worse, man. Don't worry about it.
Well,
just don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah, but you're so famous.
Get out of
Everybody
here.
keeps coming up to the table and
It
interrupting you.
It happens all the time. I appreciate it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We got a few minutes left here. I want to just cover one or two things right quick, Congressman. I'm honored for your time.
Thank you.
What do you think the chances are for Kamala Harris to turn the hearts and minds of other people with this convention this week, with her speech on Thursday? I'm not naive. This stuff doesn't happen magically. But if a long-term, iconic congressman like yourself can be persuaded that she's the best choice for America at this moment, if members of Trump's administration are persuaded that she is the best choice for this country at this moment, what say you about her chances to turn the hearts and minds of independents and others who she's going to need to pull this thing off in November?
Okay, what I hope and pray is that she stays the same and doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that Trump doesn't bring out something that encourages the Democrats to respond in a way that pulls them down.
Mm-hmm.
I hope she stays high. But candidly, I hope she maintains her authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
She's so it's so important. People are hungry for that. And so I want to be very candid here. What is the challenge for the Democrats? Immigration.
Yeah.
What is the challenge for the Republicans? A whole bunch of things, including a woman's right to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And I just pray that she will be able to have people understand that immigration has to be solved by a bipartisan Republican and Democratic agreement, not by executive order, not by a dictator at the White House, but by bringing people together. If she can do that and doesn't let the Republicans blame her for the failure to have a compromise on immigration, because we know what Donald Trump did. He killed the bill.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my concern.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful person inside and out. She just needs to be herself. She can't be intimidated. She can't let people talk her into something that's not her.
Mm-hmm.
Maintain her authenticity. And candidly, you have a lot of very, very progressive folks, and I understand, but not all America is progressive in that way. I hope she leads from the center left and not goes so far over to the left that undecided voters and some Republicans who want to support her don't.
Well, that's going to be the trick, as you well know.
Yep.
The rub against them already is that they're too progressive. So the question is, I started this program today by saying the question is, what happens? What is said and done at this convention that can help them expand their numbers, expand their base, not their base, but expand the following that they're going to need to build to make this happen?
Well, she can teach the American people. That's a job of a politician.
Yeah.
The Constitution of the United States was created in compromise, designed to promote compromise. And she can come and say, we need to come together.
Yeah.
I get chills just thinking about what she could do and how the public is so hungry for it.
Well, they are hungry for it, I believe, and we will see what she comes with on Thursday night. But before we get to Thursday night, though, Wednesday night, her running mate, Tim Walz, will speak. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, former Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama will speak. But tonight, President Joe Biden is in this hall, just a few feet from where I'm sitting right now, with his address to the nation, passing the baton to a new generation. Congressman Chris Shays, an honor to have you on the program. Thank you for your time, sir.
Tavis.
My great honor. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Back here tomorrow to do it all over again, live from the DNC in Chicago. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in to Tavis Smiley. And as always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance is pushing back against recent polling, showing a surge in support for Vice President Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential race. Appearing on Fox News Sunday, Vance said early polling often does not reflect the outcome of the election. The family of Roger Forston is seeking charges 3 months after he was shot and killed by police. Back in May, Florida deputies responded to the wrong apartment and ended up at the home of the 23-year-old Forston, a black airman. Gen Z is spending more than 5 hours a day on social media, and it's affecting their mental health. That's according to a Talker research survey of 2,000 Gen Z social media users. The survey also said boredom is the most common reason they get on social media. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Dominican slugger Teoscar Hernandez will send you home on Tuesday, August 20th with your next bobblehead. Be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance versus the Mariners to receive an exclusive Teoscar Hernandez bobblehead presented by Inaba. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
For HBCU alumni around the country, here's a few celebrated matchups that are kicking off the college football season. We have the dates and locations for you in case you and fellow alumni want to make travel plans to support your school. August 24th, the MEAC SWAC Challenge in Atlanta. Florida A&M versus Norfolk State, 7:30 p.m. kickoff Eastern Time. September 1st, the Orange Blossom Classic in Miami. North Carolina Central versus Alabama State, 3 p.m. kickoff Eastern Time. September 14th, the Toyota HBCU New York Classic, Howard University versus Morehouse, 3 p.m. kickoff at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Also September 14th, the Boombox Classic in Jackson, Mississippi, Southern University versus Jackson State, 6 p.m. kickoff Central Time. Stay with us here on KBLA for all the latest sports info on your favorite HBCU schools around the country. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
I need you, dollar, that's what I need.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates small businesses, the enduring lifeblood of our community, with the launch of the KBLA SMB Marketplace. For the first time, small to medium-sized businesses will have an opportunity to promote their goods and services on KBLA and take advantage of our powerful reach and local marketing power. The SMB Marketplace is hosted exclusively on KBLA1580.com and is accessible from all our social media channels. Whether you're a small mom and pop restaurant, a car dealership, or a professional practitioner, we invite you to join in this new KBLA Talk 1580 initiative to promote your business. As a black-owned small business, you don't want to miss this unique opportunity to gain new customers on KBLA Talk 1580. For more information, contact us today at smb@kbla1580.com. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
And if I share with you my story, would you share your shadow with me? Time to get it. Hey,
Welcome forward now. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host.